We're going? Okay. Can you guess the world's most popular pet? I would have been tempted to say dog, but it's actually the cat. According to the article Taming of the Cat in the Scientific American from 2009, there are over 600 million pet cats in the world. Now, it's difficult for me to pick a favorite pet, because I like dogs a lot too, but I've always had at least one cat in my life. Right now, I'm roommates with a spunky tortoiseshell named Pillsbury. So for all of these reasons, I was motivated to learn a little bit more about cat behavior. So, how many of you own cats? Even if you don't own a cat, chances are you know somebody who does, because cats are an integral part of human society. Learning about cat behavior can improve your relationships with the cats in your life and with the cat people in your life. Who knows, you might even learn something funny that you can use to impress someone at a party. So, I'm here to tell you that cat behavior can be explained and clarified. So I'm going to give you a rundown of what we'll talk about today. We're going to look at where cats came from and how they got domesticated. We'll investigate if they love us, and then they'll ask ourselves that age-old question, why do they do that? Before we get into the nitty-gritty of cat behavior, let's look at where these weirdos come from. According to Driscoll and their colleagues in the article Taming of the Cat from 2009, we have thought for a long time that cats originally emerged in Egypt 3,600 years ago. But a discovery in 2004 shook things up. On the island of Cyprus, a burial site 9,500 years old was found, and inside of that burial site a human was buried with a cat. This means that cats have been a part of us longer than we thought. Now, it's easy to see the benefits of a dog. From hunting to protection to transportation, dogs offer us lots of things as a society, but what do cats offer us? So a couple thousand years ago or so, when we started to store grain, the grain started to attract mice, and now cats are obligate carnivores, so they have to eat meat in order to survive. And as we all know, one of their favorite sources of meat is mice and other rodents. So it became a relationship of mutual benefit, where the cats had mice to eat, and then we had grain to eat that hadn't been tampered with by mice, because the cats were eating the mice. So that's one reason. Another reason is potentially because they're cute, as you can see here. And then over time we became more comfortable with cats, they became more comfortable with us, and they became more domesticated. There are both paintings and sculptures from ancient Egypt that feature cats. Now, Asian cats became more interesting looking because they developed differently, and Buddhists even wrote poetry about them. And then over time we began intentionally breeding cats to get a specific look going, and cats have experienced a resurgence of popularity in recent years due to the internet. So now we know the backstory of cats. Let's see what they would say if they could talk. Every pet owner has probably wondered from time to time if their animal loves them. Cats are known for being aloof, but I've also heard stories about them missing their owners after they die. So, I decided to see if there was any evidence one way or the other. A researcher named Kristen R. Vitale and her two colleagues at Oregon State University published an article called Attachment Bonds Between Domestic Cats and Humans on September 23, 2019. They used an experiment that's often used in babies to test attachment, where they'll have the baby be with their coworker and with their caretaker, and then have the caretaker leave for a couple minutes and then come back, and then they see how the baby reacts. Now, they did this exact same experiment with cats, and they found that 64.3% of cats are securely attached to their owners. This looks like evidence of love to me. Vitale did another study in August of 17 called Social Interaction, Food, Scent, or Toys, a formal assessment of domestic pet and shelter cat preferences, where they gave the cat several options of things that they could go towards and recorded how often they went towards each thing. Now, they found that cats chose human connection more than anything else. So again, you can't prove what a cat is feeling, but these things certainly look to me like evidence that they at least value us. So now we know a little bit about how they feel. Let's look at how they behave. There's a man named John Bradshaw, and he studies animal behavior at the University of Bristol Veterinary College. On October 1st, 2018, Katie Wong interviewed him, and they made an article about it called The Inner Life of Cats. So, he told us a few things about what cats do. Cats purr to tell us to keep petting them, but they can also do it as a cry for help. There are some researchers that think that the frequency that's generated by cats purring can heal them when they're injured. Cats see us as slightly superior, which is why they rub on our legs, because they do this with older and bigger cats. Why do cats knock things over? There are a couple reasons why cats might knock things over. For one thing, they don't really understand the value of our possessions and they don't mean anything to them, so it could be an accident. However, what seems more likely to me is that they notice that we react when they knock things over, so they think it's a game. As you can see here, they look quite mischievous while doing it. Now, why do cats sit in boxes? That's probably just because it makes them feel safe. And Bradshaw says that we don't know exactly why some cats choose to sit in very small boxes. So, another question is, why do cats need us? I don't have a source for this, but basically what I've learned is that cats need us because it makes them feel secure and it reminds them of their mother. And cats that were weaned early are more likely to do it. So as you can see here.
Oh. Weird.
Now here's a question for the cat owners. Have any of you ever noticed your cat slowly blinking at you? I grew up with a cat named Murray that would always do this, and to me it seemed purposeful and like he was trying to communicate something. Apparently other people had the same idea because a study was just published called The Role of Cat-Eye Narrowing Movements in Cat-Human Communication. It came out on October 5th of this year. It was published by Humphrey and their colleagues. They show that there's clear evidence of a response. When you blink slowly at a cat, they're more likely to approach you, and they're also more likely to blink back at you. This shows that it's a form of intentional communication between cats and humans. Now, there's been a lot of research on dogs, but less on cats. Why is this? Well, for one thing, cat research is an emerging field. For another, cats are difficult to study. Many researchers have reported giving up after becoming frustrated. Also, some cats themselves will drop out of the studies. But there is still hope. The Vitali that I mentioned that did a couple studies earlier, she is really making some great strides researching aspects of cat behavior that no one ever has before. So, it's an emerging field, but we're getting somewhere, and more will be revealed. So we covered a lot today. We looked at where cats come from, whether or not they love us, and then we got to the good stuff, their behavior. So, why do they do these weird things? We don't exactly know the reason for everyone, but there's lots of evidence to suggest certain reasons for certain ones of them. So, they're also difficult to study. So, I hope that you learned something and you had fun. And maybe next time you'll be able to make an educated guess when your cat looks at you funny.